Hi, everybody, and welcome to Poll Hub. I am Jay DeDapper, and this is the beginning of a whole new journey. Lee Miringoff and Barbara Carvalho, Marist Poll, with us every week. We're going to be unpacking the polls, and we'll tell you what that means in a minute. Lee, who are you and why are you here?
Because Barbara and you told me to be here, and I am Lee Miringoff, and I direct the Marist Institute for Public Opinion. We've been in business since 1978. We started, our first production was a radio production, and now look what this is.
We've come full circle.
Yes, we're now much more modern. Barbara?
And I'm Barbara Carvalho. I'm director of the Marist Poll. And I'm here, actually, I think, to keep the two of you honest and on track.
And who's keeping you honest?
Well, I know both of you will certainly work me over if there's any miss-poll speak at all.
So there are a lot of polls out there. There are a lot of podcasts that deal in politics. And I think we should probably disabuse anybody the notion right off the bat that we're going to sit around and talk about politics all the time. I mean, that's not the idea here. Why are we doing this?
No, I don't think so. Polls are everywhere. They're not just in the political realm. And so it'll be a lot of politics because that's kind of what dominates the news every day. But polls are all around us, and they tell us about what people think, what people feel, what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they like and dislike. And it doesn't have to be a mystery. Sometimes those numbers are a mystery and they carry more weight. The numbers carry a lot of weight. So you think you're actually making an argument, you're supporting a cause. But we're going to tell you why that might not always be the case.
And I think we're all motivated by kind of like a real news picture, a real poll picture. You as a political journalist, you want to make sure important things get in front of an audience. We have a pollster bent. We're disappointed in the quality of communication about polls. We think there's a bigger story to tell. So between the three of us, we hopefully provide some information that citizens can take with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what interests me about this, is that in covering politics for as long as I did in television and having a limited time to tell stories, polls were generally used as a hook in a story. So it's like, well, we've got this new poll out and generally about a campaign. It's a way to do a campaign story. But it was so surface. It was like somebody's up, somebody's down. Oh, they're doing well with a certain group in a certain part of the state or a state or a part of the country. And that was about it. And I mean, what's a typical poll? For instance, how many questions are in a typical poll, even just about one campaign?
And I would just jump in to say that, and the only thing else you hear about other than who's ahead and who's behind is a margin of error.
Yeah. Which
is sort of like a gratuitous use of something to make you feel that you have somehow told us about the methods involved in the poll.
There's a lot of distrust. There's a distrust in politics, media, and with the polls. So, if you're telling a story and you're using a poll, did you just pull out a number, or is that really something that I should take to heart and understand? And I think that's what we're going to try to do here is uncover what is fact from fiction.
And you've got a whole team here, and we're going to be hearing from them as we go. There'll be lots of guests, lots of people to talk to. What do the people on the team bring to this, do you think?
Well, I think a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. I mean, we've been at this a long time. It takes about an election cycle, or in this current environment, about 2 weeks to get everything you need to know. But seriously, this is a place for polls. And this is about people who are asking questions, people who are drawing samples, people who are analyzing data, and an army of Marist College students who are doing the real hard work of talking to the public and trying to get balanced information from them. And it's funny, a lot of people say, well, I would never talk to someone if I was asked to do a poll. In fact, people have opinions and they want to share them. And the problem is reaching them. Once we get them, it's sort of, the job is half done at that point.
And what's interesting is you also think of polls as us just calling out and asking people questions. But what happens is when we call out and we don't necessarily get everybody the first time we try to call them, we leave a number and we ask them to call them back.
How many people call back?
A lot of people call back.
You're kidding.
Yeah, they do.
And this is not from the get a life kind of crowd. Okay? No, I mean, I think people are very interested, and it really plays. Polls really have a value in terms of bringing people to the table of decision making and bringing people to the table of being the news themselves.
So that's what
I think, Jay, if I could jump in, I think that you as someone who knows an awful lot about social media, probably has seen this evolution of people having opinions and wanting to share them. And I don't know if you wanted to jump in on that.
Yeah, no, it's true that we think about people not wanting to pick up the phone and talk to a pollster, but people spend every day, all day, sharing their opinions now on Facebook and Twitter and all these social media platforms. So
it's so
true.
hyper-partisan right now that not only do you want to share it, you want to convince and you want to sort of make sure that.
But Jay asked a question before of how many questions we actually asked,
which we conveniently didn't answer,
and we didn't answer that at all.
Yeah, so we'll answer that in a future episode. What we do want to do, and we want everybody to know, is that we do want to hear not only when you call them, we want to hear from them now. So if you've got questions about polls, how they're done, why one poll says one thing and says another, whether it's about politics or there's lots of polls about social issues, and we'll even be doing episodes in the future about how polling really is, brands talking to consumers. That's even polling. So if you've got any questions about that, these are the guys that can answer it. And we're going to dig in deep. It's not going to be the surface. So we'll have time to actually unpack a complicated question and get you an answer that, make you really boring or really interesting at the next cocktail party. I'm not sure which. That's up for you to decide. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Is there a Snapchat? You guys Snapchat?
Yeah, there is.
That's Snapchat too.
Oh, I know. We have a lot of millennials working with us, so they plug us in.
Did they set up your Snapchat account?
Of course.
All right.
But I knew what it was.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And it was explained to me.
You don't snap that off, do you? Do you do the filters with the bunny ears on your face?
They were out of them when I went to buy a couple, and so I'll have to wait for a new shipment to arrive.
We're going to do a poll on that.
Yeah, we now need to put bunny ears on Lee. That's one of the things we got to do. All right. That's Poll Hub. Episode 0 is what we call this. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe, and you can find us in all the places that podcasts are to be found. We'll see you next time.